Hey there, welcome. Go ahead and get comfortable wherever you are right now. Maybe you're already tucked into bed, the lights turned down low, the room finally quiet after a long day. Maybe you're lying on your side with the blankets pulled up just right, or flat on your back with your hands resting easy at your sides. However you're settled, that's perfect. There's nothing you need to do here except be exactly where you are. Tonight, we're going to take a slow, gentle journey together. No rush, no hurry, nowhere we need to be. We're going to drift out past the ceiling above you, past the roof, past the clouds, and out into the enormous, quiet dark that holds our home in space. We're going to spend some time with the Milky Way, our galaxy, the great spiral of stars that you belong to, whether you ever think about it or not. And here's the nice thing about a night like this one. You don't have to remember any of it. You don't have to follow along carefully or keep track of the details. If your mind wanders, let it wander. If you drift off in the middle of a sentence, that's honestly the whole point. My voice is just here to keep you company while your body lets go, softens, and sinks a little deeper into rest. So let's take a breath together before we begin. Nothing dramatic, just a slow, easy breath in through your nose and a long, quiet breath out. Feel your shoulders drop a little. Feel the weight of your head against the pillow. Feel how the bed is holding you completely, so you don't have to hold yourself up at all. You can let that go now. You can let all of it go. You know, it's a funny thing about our galaxy. It's right there above us every single night, and yet most of us go our whole lives barely giving it a second glance. We're busy. We've got things on our minds. The truth is, on most nights, the city lights wash it out anyway, and we forget it's even there. But it is there. It's always there. That soft, milky band of light stretched across a truly dark sky. That faint glow that people once told stories about, long before anyone knew what it really was. That's home. That's the neighborhood we live in. For thousands of years, people looked up at that pale river of light and wondered what on earth it could be. Different cultures all over the world came up with their own beautiful ways of explaining it. Some saw it as a road that spirits walked along. Some saw it as a river in the sky, or a great pathway made of scattered grain, or the smoke of a distant campfire. The name we use in English, the Milky Way, comes from an old idea, a stretch of the heavens that looked to ancient eyes like a splash of spilled milk across the black. And I love that, honestly. Long before telescopes, long before anyone understood a single thing about what they were seeing, people still felt that pull to look up and give it a name. That same pull is the reason you and I are here tonight. But we're not going to strain to understand anything. We're just going to wander through it, slowly, the way you might wander through a quiet museum late in the evening when everyone else has gone home. We'll pause at whatever catches our attention. We'll let the facts drift by like leaves on slow-moving water. And little by little, as we go, you'll notice yourself getting heavier, softer, more still. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Let me tell you a little about where we're headed, just so you have a gentle sense of the shape of things. Our galaxy is a spiral. If you could somehow float far, far above it and look down, impossibly far, farther than any of us will ever travel, you'd see a great glowing pinwheel, slowly turning, with graceful arms curving out from a bright, crowded center. It's a little like cream stirred once into a cup of coffee, caught in that moment when it spreads into a soft swirl. Beautiful, calm, turning so slowly that from up close, you'd never even notice it moving at all. And inside that slow-turning spiral, somewhere out along one of those curving arms, well away from the busy heart of it, there's a small, ordinary yellow star. Nothing special about it, really. One of hundreds of billions. And circling that small, ordinary star, there's a little blue world. And on that little blue world, in a quiet room, under a soft blanket, there's you, resting, breathing, letting the day melt away. Isn't that something to think about? Gently, as you drift off, you're not separate from all of this. You're part of it. You're made of it, actually. But we'll get to that later, in our own unhurried time. For now, just let the size of it settle over you like a second blanket. There's something wonderfully restful about how enormous it all is. Whatever was weighing on your mind today, whatever felt so urgent and so heavy just a few hours ago, out here, against all of this, it can soften. It can shrink down to its proper size. It can wait until morning. Take another slow breath with me now. In and out. Let your jaw unclench. Let your tongue rest soft in your mouth. Let the little muscles around your eyes go loose and still. There's nowhere to look. There's nothing to see. You can let your eyes stay closed and simply listen, or barely listen, or not really listen at all. It's all the same. It all leads to the same quiet place. Over the course of our time together tonight, I'm going to share 100 little facts about the Milky Way, 100 small, calm truths about the galaxy that holds us. But I want you to understand something right from the start. This isn't a test, and it isn't a lecture. Think of them more like 100 smooth stones, each one small enough to hold in your palm, each one turned over slowly, and then set gently back down. We might not even reach all 100 before you're fast asleep, and that is completely fine. More than fine. If you drift away at number 7, or number 20, or somewhere in the middle where you've lost count entirely, good. That's the whole idea. The facts are just a soft path to walk down until sleep comes to meet you. I'll keep my voice low and even the whole way through. I won't surprise you. I won't raise my voice or rush ahead or throw anything startling at you. Nothing exciting is going to happen here, and I mean that in the best possible way. This is a place with no deadlines and no decisions. The only thing on tonight's schedule is rest. So let's ease into it, slowly. Let me tell you where we actually are right now in the grand scheme of things, because it helps to have a gentle sense of place before you let go entirely. You're on Earth, of course, and Earth is one of 8 planets circling our sun. And our sun, that warm, steady star we take so completely for granted, is just one star among a staggering number of others. The most common estimate is that our galaxy holds somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Say that number softly to yourself, 400 billion stars. It's a number so large that the human mind can't really hold it. And that's all right. You don't need to hold it. You only need to let it wash over you, the way you'd let the sound of gentle rain wash over you, without trying to count a single drop. Every one of those stars is a sun in its own right. Many of them have their own planets, their own little worlds turning slowly in the dark. Some of those worlds might have their own quiet rooms, in a manner of speaking, their own soft places to rest. We don't know. We may never know. But it's a peaceful thought to carry with you towards sleep. The idea that the galaxy is full, absolutely full, of gentle glowing lights, each one warming its own small corner of the dark. And all of it, all 400 billion of those stars, and the vast clouds of gas and dust drifting between them, and the little blue world where you're resting right now, all of it is turning, together, in one enormous, unhurried circle. Our whole galaxy spins, but it spins so slowly, on such a grand and patient scale, that a single turn takes hundreds of millions of years. Hundreds of millions of years for one lap. Imagine that. There is no rush anywhere in the sky. The stars have all the time in the world. And tonight, so do you. I want you to feel that patience settling into your own body now. There is nothing you have to hurry toward. The galaxy has been turning for billions of years, and it will keep turning long after this night is over, and none of it asks anything of you. You are allowed to simply lie here and be carried along with it. You're already moving through space right now, faster than you could ever imagine, but so smoothly, so steadily, that you feel perfectly still. And still is exactly how you want to feel. Heavy and warm and wonderfully still. Let your breathing find its own slow rhythm now. You don't have to control it anymore. Just let it happen on its own, the way it always does, the way it will keep doing all through the night without you ever needing to think about it. In and out, slow and soft, like the tide, like the galaxy, turning. As we go on tonight, I'll take you gently through it all. We'll talk about the shining band of light you can see on a dark night and what it's actually made of. We'll talk about the great, mysterious heart at the center of everything. We'll talk about the arms of the spiral and the quiet outskirts where we happen to live, and the neighbors we drift among, and the long, slow story of how all of it came to be. But every bit of it, I promise, will be told in the same low, unhurried voice. Nothing that needs your effort, nothing that pulls you back from the edge of sleep. Only a soft stream of small, calm facts to keep you company while you let go. So there's really nothing left for you to do now. You've arrived. You're here in the quiet, held by your bed, watched over by a galaxy so vast it defies all understanding, and yet close enough, in a way, to feel like home. You can let your thoughts grow slow and shapeless. You can let the words start to blur together. You can let yourself sink. Take one more easy breath with me before we go any further. In through your nose, slow and deep. Hold it just for a moment and let it go, long and soft, all the way out. Good. Feel how a little more of the day left you with that breath. Feel how much lighter you already are than when we started. And now, with the room dark and the world gone quiet, with the great spiral turning slowly and silently far above your roof, let's begin our gentle wander through the Milky Way. One soft fact at a time, in no hurry at all, drifting slowly towards sleep together. Let's start with the name itself, because it's a lovely place to begin. The Milky Way, that soft, milky word we use for our whole galaxy, comes from the way it looks in the sky. A faint, pale band of light, almost like someone spilled a little cream across the darkness. The ancient Greeks looked up at that same hazy stripe and thought of it as a river of milk. And the word they used gave us the name we still whisper today. Even the word galaxy comes from their word for milk. Isn't that gentle? Every time you say it, you're echoing something people said thousands and thousands of years ago, gazing up at the very same light you can see tonight. And that pale band you can spot on a truly dark night, far from any city, is not a cloud. And it's not mist. And it's not a trick of the eye. It's stars. It's countless, countless stars, so far away and so densely packed that your eye can't tell them apart. They simply blur together into that soft glow. When you look at the Milky Way stretched across the sky, you're actually looking edge-on into the flat disk of our own galaxy. From the inside, you're sitting within it, looking through the long stretch of it, and all those layered stars pile up into that river of light. We live inside the very thing we're admiring. Let that settle for a moment. We're not looking at the galaxy from the outside, the way you might look at a photograph of it. We can't step away and see the whole beautiful spiral from a distance. We're tucked inside one of its arms, looking out and across, seeing it the only way we ever can, from within. And somehow that makes it feel closer, doesn't it? More like home. We're not visitors peering in. We belong to it. Now here's something soft and strange to carry with you towards sleep. Our galaxy is enormous, so enormous that the numbers almost stop meaning anything, and you're allowed to just let them wash over you. If you could travel across the Milky Way from one edge to the other, riding on a beam of light, and light is the fastest thing there is. Nothing in all the universe moves quicker. It would still take you around 100,000 years to cross it. 100,000 years, moving at the speed of light. That's how wide our home is. And you don't have to grasp that. You couldn't, really. Nobody can. You can just let it be big and quiet and far beyond you, the way the ocean is big when you fall asleep beside it. That measurement, the way it stretches across, is what we call a light year. It's not a measure of time at all, even though it has the word year in it. It's a measure of distance, how far light travels in a single year, drifting silently through the emptiness. And light covers an astonishing amount of ground in a year. So when we say the galaxy is 100,000 light years across, we mean that light itself, tireless and swift, would need 100,000 trips around the sun to make the journey. These are the kinds of distances we're wandering through tonight. Vast and calm and utterly unhurried. And within all that width, our galaxy is really quite thin. That might surprise you. A spiral galaxy like ours isn't a great ball of stars. It's more like a disk, a flat and gently glowing plate, spinning slowly in the dark. Picture two dinner plates set rim to rim, or the shape of a smooth, flat stone. The Milky Way is wide and broad, but shallow from top to bottom, at least out where we are. Most of the stars, most of the gas, most of the dust, all of it settles into that thin, turning disk. And we're right inside the layer of it, riding along, going quietly around. At the very middle of that disk, though, things gather up and thicken. The center of the Milky Way bulges outward, above and below the flat plane, into a rounded swell of stars we call the bulge. It's the oldest, most crowded part of the galaxy, packed with stars that have been shining for a very long time. If you could somehow float above the galaxy and look down, you'd see that bright, dense heart glowing at the center, with the graceful arms winding out and away from it, like the pattern water makes when it slowly swirls down a drain, only frozen and gentle and turning across unimaginable spans of time. Those arms, the spiral arms, are perhaps the loveliest part of the whole shape. They're the great curving lanes where the galaxy's bright young stars are born, sweeping outward from the center in long, graceful spirals. They're not solid things, not fixed structures you could hold. They're more like patterns, like the ripples that move through a field of tall grass when the wind passes over it. Stars drift in and out of the arms as the galaxy turns, but the pattern stays, glowing a little brighter where the arms are, because that's where new stars are being kindled, fresh and blue and brilliant, out of the clouds of gas. And our own little sun, with all its planets, including this one you're resting on tonight, lives out along one of those arms. Not the grandest one, not one of the two great main arms, but a smaller, quieter spur between them. Some people call it the Orion Arm, or the Orion Spur, because when we look toward that part of the sky, we see the stars of the constellation Orion. It's a modest, peaceful stretch of the galaxy, and I find that rather comforting, honestly. We don't live in the bright, busy heart of things, where stars are packed close and the light never dims. We live out in a calmer neighborhood, with a little breathing room around us, a little quiet. A good place, you might say, to rest. Let's slow down for just a breath here. Feel the weight of your body against the bed. Feel how it's held, completely, without any effort from you at all. The mattress is doing all the work. The pillow is doing all the work. You don't have to hold yourself up in any way. You can let every muscle grow just a little heavier, a little softer, sinking down. That's it. And as your body settles, we'll keep drifting outward, gently, into the galaxy. Now, how far out along that arm do we actually sit? Well, we're a good long way from the center. Our sun orbits around the middle of the galaxy at a distance of roughly 26,000 light-years. So even from where we are, out in the calm suburbs, the heart of the Milky Way is unthinkably far away. If you sent a message toward the center at the speed of light, it would travel for 26,000 years before it ever arrived. We are wonderfully, peacefully remote from all the crowding and the brightness at the core. Out here, the nights are dark, and the stars are spread thin, and there's plenty of room to dream. And even way out here, we're moving. I mentioned it earlier, and it's worth returning to, softly, because it's such a strange and soothing thing to hold in your mind as you fall asleep. Our whole solar system is sweeping around the center of the galaxy at a tremendous speed, something like a couple of 100 kilometers every single second. Every second, we travel a distance that would take you hours to drive, and yet you feel none of it. There's no wind, no rush, no sense of speed at all. Everything around us is moving together, so smoothly and so evenly that it feels like perfect stillness. We are hurtling through space, and we are completely at rest, both at once, just like you, right now, carried along and yet lying perfectly still. Even at that great speed, though, the galaxy is so vast that one full trip around takes an astonishingly long time. For our sun to make one complete lap of the Milky Way, to go all the way around the center just once, takes somewhere around 230 million years. 230 million years for a single orbit. We call that stretch of time a galactic year, or sometimes a cosmic year. And here's a thought to melt into your pillow with. Since our sun first formed, it has only gone around the galaxy something like 20 times. Just 20 laps in its entire long life. The last time our sun was in this exact spot of its orbit, the dinosaurs were walking the Earth. That's how slow and grand these turnings are. There's no hurry anywhere. Not out there, and not here, in this room, tonight. Let's talk for a moment about just how many stars share this galaxy with us, because it's a number worth sinking into. Nobody knows the exact count. You can't line them all up and tally them. But astronomers estimate that the Milky Way holds somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Let those words move slowly through your mind. 100 billion. 400 billion. Each one a sun. Each one, perhaps, with worlds of its own turning quietly around it. If you tried to count them, one every second, without ever stopping to sleep or eat, you would not finish in your lifetime, or in 100 lifetimes, or in 1,000. The number is simply too large for counting. So we don't count. We just let it be vast and beautiful and far away. And of all those countless stars, our sun is a fairly ordinary one. That's not a sad thing. It's actually rather nice. It isn't the biggest or the brightest or the hottest. It's a middle-sized, middle-aged, steady yellow star, the kind there are a great many of. It's dependable. It rises and sets. It warms the world. It holds its planets close. And it has been doing so faithfully for about 4.5 billion years. And it will keep on shining, steady and warm, for billions of years more. There's something deeply restful in that steadiness, isn't there? A quiet, reliable star, going about its slow work, asking nothing of anyone. In fact, most of the stars in the Milky Way are smaller and dimmer and cooler than our sun. The most common kind of star out there is what we call a red dwarf, a small, faint, reddish star that burns very slowly and very gently, using its fuel so sparingly that it can go on glowing for trillions of years. Trillions. Far longer than the universe has even existed so far. These little red stars are everywhere, scattered through the galaxy in enormous numbers, quietly shining their soft, dim light. They're so faint that you can't see a single one of them with your naked eye. Not one, even though they're the most numerous stars of all. The night sky is full of quiet, gentle lights we never even notice. And between all those stars, the space isn't quite empty. It's very nearly empty, emptier than anything we could make here on Earth. But not entirely. Drifting through the galaxy, between and around the stars, there are vast, thin clouds of gas and dust. We call it the interstellar medium, which is just a fancy way of saying the stuff between the stars. It's mostly hydrogen, the simplest and oldest material in the universe, spread out so thinly that a whole roomful of it might contain almost nothing at all. But gathered across the enormous distances of the galaxy, it adds up to a staggering amount. And it matters enormously because those clouds are the raw material of stars. Everything that shines up there was once a cloud like these. Every star begins as a soft, cold drift of gas in the dark. Some of those clouds are places of quiet creation, where new stars are slowly coming into being. We call them nebulae, great glowing clouds of gas and dust, some of them light years across. Inside them, over spans of time too long to imagine, gravity gently gathers the gas together, pulling it slowly inward, drawing it closer and closer, until at last, in the deep heart of the cloud, a new star flickers into life and begins to shine. It's happening right now, all across the galaxy, in dozens of hidden nurseries. New suns, slowly kindling in the dark. While you lie here and drift towards sleep, there's a kind of gentleness to it. The universe, quietly making light out of the quietest, coldest clouds. And when you see a photograph of one of these star-forming nebulae, all soft pinks and deep blues and glowing veils of color, remember that in real life, out there in the dark, it's incredibly faint and diffuse. The vivid colors come out over long, patient exposures, gathering light over hours. To your eye, floating nearby, it would be a soft, ghostly glow, but that softness is the whole nature of the place. Everything in the galaxy happens slowly and quietly, and without the slightest hurry. Clouds gather over millions of years. Stars are born over hundreds of thousands. Nothing rushes, nothing strains. It all unfolds at a pace so slow and so patient that it makes a single night's sleep feel like the briefest, smallest blink. Breathe that in for a moment. That patience. There is nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to finish tonight. The galaxy has been turning and gathering and quietly making light for billions of years. And it will go on doing exactly that whether you're awake to watch it or fast asleep. And so you can let go. You can hand the whole night over. You don't have to keep watch. The stars will keep shining. The clouds will keep drifting. Everything will carry on, softly, in the dark, while you rest. Let's follow the dust for just a little while, because it has a quiet story too. That dust I mentioned, floating between the stars. It isn't dust like the kind that settles on a shelf. It's made of tiny grains, far finer than smoke, of carbon and silicon and other simple things forged inside stars and then scattered out into space. And there's enough of it, spread through the galaxy, to block our view. When you look toward the center of the Milky Way and see dark patches and rifts in that glowing band of light, those dark lanes aren't gaps where there are no stars. They're clouds of dust standing between us and the stars beyond, quietly soaking up the light. The dark is full. It only looks empty. That same dust is part of why for so long we couldn't see the center of our own galaxy. It sits there, veiled behind those thick curtains of dust, hidden from ordinary sight. For most of human history, no one had any idea what lay at the heart of the Milky Way. It was simply too far and too shrouded to see. And there's something almost tender about that we've lived our whole existence inside this vast structure. And only very recently, with special instruments that can see through the dust, have we begun to glimpse what's really at the center. But we'll come to that heart in its own time, gently, later on. For now, just know that it's there, glowing softly behind its veils, patient as ever. Here's a warm little thought to hold as we go. That dust, those clouds, all that scattered material between the stars, it isn't separate from us. It's the very same stuff we're made of. The carbon in your body, the oxygen you're breathing in and out so slowly right now, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones. All of it was made inside stars long ago and scattered out into clouds like the ones drifting through the galaxy tonight. And from clouds like those, our sun and our Earth and everything on it slowly gathered together. So when we talk about the gas and dust of the Milky Way, we're really talking about our own distant origins. You are made of the galaxy. You always have been. And tonight, you're simply resting inside the larger body you came from. Let that be a comfort as you sink a little deeper now. You belong here. Every atom of you was born out there, in the slow furnaces of ancient stars, and carried across unimaginable distances, and gathered gently together into the shape of you. You are not a stranger to the night sky. You're a small, warm piece of it. Come home to rest for a while. And the galaxy holds you now the way it has always held everything. Softly, patiently, without any effort at all. So let your thoughts grow slow again. Let the numbers and the distances blur pleasantly at the edges. You don't need to remember any of it. There's no test in the morning, nothing to hold on to. These are just soft facts, drifting past like the clouds between the stars, here to keep you company, and nothing more. Let them come, and let them go, and let yourself grow heavier and warmer and stiller with each easy breath. We'll keep wandering, you and I, a little further into the galaxy. There's so much more to see, all of it gentle, all of it slow, the great spiral arms and the stars that fill them, the strange and beautiful heart at the center, the neighbors that drift alongside us in the dark. But there's no hurry to reach any of it. We'll take it one soft fact at a time, in this same low voice, in no rush at all. And if you happen to drift off somewhere along the way, if the words start to melt together and the meaning slips gently out of reach, that's perfectly all right. That's exactly what this is for. You can let go whenever you're ready. The galaxy will keep turning, and I'll keep talking softly into the quiet while you sleep. Let's wander out into the spiral arms now, slowly, the way you might stroll through a garden in the last soft light of evening. Those arms are where so much of the galaxy's life is happening. Though happening is almost too busy a word for something so unhurried. The Milky Way has a handful of major arms curling out from its center, and they carry lovely, old-fashioned names. There's the Perseus arm, and the Sagittarius arm, and the Scutum Centaurus arm, and a few smaller ones threaded in between. You don't need to hold those names in your mind. Let them drift past like the names of towns you pass on a long train ride at night, glowing for a moment and then gone. Now, here's a gentle thing to know about those arms. For a long time, people imagined them as solid, fixed shapes, like the arms of a pinwheel that stay in the same place as the whole thing turns. But that isn't quite how it works. The spiral arms are more like ripples, or maybe like a slow-moving traffic jam of stars and gas, drifting through the disk of the galaxy. Stars move in and out of them over enormous stretches of time, so the arms aren't really objects, so much as they are places where things gather and glow a little brighter for a while. Isn't that a soft idea to rest on? Not a solid thing at all, but a pattern, a gentle crowding, a place where the light pools. And our own little corner of the galaxy sits in a modest spot, not in one of the grand major arms, but in a smaller feature all its own. Astronomers call it the Orion Arm, or sometimes the Orion Spur, a kind of minor branch tucked between two of the larger arms. It's a quiet neighborhood, out in the gentle suburbs of the Milky Way, far from the crowded, brilliant heart of things. And honestly, that suits us. Out here, the stars are spread comfortably far apart, and the sky is calm, and there's plenty of room to simply drift. If the galaxy were a great city all lit up at night, we'd be living in a peaceful little street near the edge of town, where the porch lights are soft and the traffic is slow and nobody's in any particular hurry to get anywhere. A nice place to rest, really. A nice place to fall asleep. Let that picture settle over you for a moment. You, in your bed, in your quiet room, on this small blue world, out along a gentle spur of stars, in the calm outskirts of an enormous spinning galaxy, layer after layer of stillness, holding you softly in the middle of it all. Now let's talk about the stars themselves for a little while, because they come in such a wonderful variety. And there's something soothing in just letting them pass by, one kind after another. When you look up at the night sky, all the stars might seem more or less the same, little points of white light scattered across the dark. But out there, they're astonishingly different from one another. Some are enormous and blazing, hundreds of times wider than our sun. Others are small and cool and dim, glowing a deep, patient red, sipping their fuel so slowly that they'll go on shining for trillions of years. And in between, there are stars of every size and color you could imagine. The color of a star, you know, tells you how hot it is. The coolest stars glow red, like the last embers of a fire settling down for the night. A little warmer, and they shine orange, then yellow, like our own sun. Warmer still, and they burn a clean, bright white. And the very hottest stars of all glow blue, fierce and brilliant, though they tend to live fast and fade young. It's a little backwards from how we usually think, isn't it? We tend to imagine red as hot and blue as cool. But among the stars, it's the other way around. The blue ones are the furnaces, and the red ones are the gentle, glowing coals, something to smile softly about as you drift. And here's a tender thought about those small red stars, the ones astronomers call red dwarfs. They are by far the most common stars in the whole galaxy. The vast majority of the stars in the Milky Way are these quiet, dim, long-lived little suns. They don't blaze across the sky. Most of them are far too faint to see with the naked eye, even the nearest ones. But they are patient beyond all imagining. A red dwarf can go on burning steadily for far longer than the universe has even existed so far. Long, long after our own sun has faded away, these small red stars will still be glowing softly in the dark, keeping their slow and quiet vigil. There's something deeply restful in that, I think. The most common thing in the galaxy is also the most patient. The universe, it seems, has a real fondness for slowness. Let your breathing slow down to match that thought. In and out. No hurry at all. Like a red dwarf, sipping gently at its fuel, in no rush to be anywhere or do anything, just glowing softly and letting the ages pass. Now, our own sun sits comfortably in the middle of all this variety. It's a yellow star, middling in size, middling in temperature, middling in age. Not a giant, not a dwarf, just a steady, ordinary, dependable sun. And that ordinariness has been a great gift to us, because a steady star makes for a steady home. Our sun has been shining at more or less the same brightness for billions of years, warm and reliable, giving the Earth the long, calm stretch of time it needed for life to slowly, slowly emerge and unfold. A more dramatic star, one that flared and dimmed and threw tantrums, might never have allowed for something as delicate as a sleeping person in a quiet room. So there's a kind of gratitude to rest in there too. We were born beside a gentle star. Our sun is a little more than 4.5 billion years old, which sounds impossibly ancient, and it is. But it's really only middle-aged as stars go. It has roughly another 5 billion years of steady shining ahead of it before it begins, very slowly, to change. So there's no need to worry about any of that tonight. The sun will rise in the morning, just as it always has, warm and golden over the edge of the world. And it will go on rising for longer than the human mind can really hold. You can let that worry, like all the others, drift gently out of reach. Let's drift a little further and think about how stars come to be born, because it's one of the most peaceful stories in all of nature, even though it plays out over spans of time we can barely fathom. Remember those great clouds of gas and dust we spoke of earlier, drifting between the stars? Well, every now and then, in some quiet region of one of those clouds, the gas begins to gather. Maybe a gentle nudge sets it off, the distant tremor of a passing star, or the slow pull of gravity working patiently over the ages. And once it begins, it keeps on going. The gas draws together, and as it draws together, it grows a little denser. And as it grows denser, it pulls a little harder, gathering more gas still. It's an incredibly slow process. Nothing about it is sudden. Over hundreds of thousands of years, over millions of years, a great knot of gas slowly tightens in the heart of the cloud, growing warmer and denser at its center as it goes. And eventually, deep in the middle of that gathering, it grows so hot and so tightly packed that something quietly ignites, and a new star begins to shine. It doesn't announce itself. There's no grand moment, just a slow, gradual warming, and then softly, light. A star switching itself on for the first time in the deep dark of a cloud, so gently that even the stars nearby would hardly notice. Isn't that a lovely thing to imagine as you lie here in the dark, all across the galaxy tonight, in the hidden hearts of countless clouds? New stars are slowly gathering themselves together, warming, brightening, coming softly into being. It's happening right now, as you breathe, though so slowly that no human eye could ever watch it happen. The galaxy is quietly, endlessly making new light, in no hurry at all, the way it always has. And often, stars are born not alone, but in great gentle nurseries, whole families of them forming together from the same cloud. You may have heard of some of these places, even if the names have faded from memory. There's a famous one in the constellation of Orion, a vast glowing cloud where thousands of new stars are being born even now. If you've ever looked up at Orion on a winter night and noticed a faint, fuzzy patch of light hanging below the 3 bright stars of his belt, that's it. A great stellar nursery, so far away that all its glory shrinks to a soft smudge, but real and busy with the slow work of making stars. Stars born together like this start out as loose, gentle clusters, drifting through the galaxy side by side like siblings. But over long ages, they slowly wander apart, each drawn off on its own path by the great turning of the galaxy, until at last they scatter and lose track of one another entirely. Our own sun was almost certainly born this way, in a cluster of brother and sister stars, long ago. And over the billions of years since, those siblings have all drifted away, off around the galaxy on their own separate journeys, until now we can't even say for certain which stars they were. Somewhere out there tonight, scattered across the sky, are the long-lost siblings of our sun, glowing among the crowd, unrecognized. There's a soft kind of poetry in that, isn't there? Even the stars leave home in the end and wander out into the wide world on their own. But there's nothing sad about it. Not really. It's just the slow way of things. Everything gathers, and everything drifts, and everything finds its own gentle path through the dark. And tonight, you don't have to go anywhere at all. You get to stay, warm and still, right where you are while the great slow drifting of the galaxy carries on far above your roof. Let's slow down here and take a few easy breaths together. In, softly, and out, slower still. Feel how heavy your body has become, sinking down into the bed, held and supported, nothing for you to do. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let the small muscles around your eyes grow loose and still. There's nowhere to be, and nothing to finish, and no thought worth chasing. Just this quiet room, and this low voice, and the slow turning of the stars. Now, I mentioned that stars often come in families, and here's a related fact that always strikes me as rather sweet. A great many stars in the galaxy don't travel alone at all. They come in pairs. Two stars, bound together by gravity, slowly circling one another for the whole of their long lives. We call them binary stars, and they're wonderfully common. A huge fraction of all the stars you can see are actually two stars, or sometimes even more, orbiting so close together that from far away, they blur into a single point of light. Some of them swing around each other quickly, and others drift around in slow, wide, patient circles that take thousands of years to complete. Imagine that for a moment. Two suns, rising and setting together over some distant world, casting double shadows across the ground. Two stars, keeping each other slow and steady, company across the ages, neither one ever quite alone. Our own sun happens to be a solitary star, wandering the galaxy on its own. But so very many stars have a companion. There's something companionable about the whole galaxy once you start to notice it. Stars in pairs, stars in clusters, stars gathered into great spiraling arms, even out in the vast dark, so little of it is truly alone. And you're not alone either, tonight, resting here beneath all of that. The whole enormous, patient, companionable galaxy is turning quietly overhead, full of gathering clouds and softly kindling stars, and old suns drifting slowly around one another. And all of it is going on in the gentlest possible way, without the slightest effort, exactly as it has for billions of years and will for billions more. You're a small, warm part of that vast, slow, peaceful thing. And right now, all it's asking of you is that you rest. So let yourself grow heavier still. Let the names and the numbers blur pleasantly at the edges again. You don't need to keep a single one. Let the spiral arms and the red dwarfs and the gathering clouds and the paired up stars all drift past like scenery from the window of a slow night train, glowing softly for a moment and then slipping gently away behind you. There's no destination we're trying to reach. We're just wandering, you and I, further and further into the quiet, in this same low voice, in no hurry at all. And you can let go whenever you like. The stars will keep on turning, and I'll keep talking softly into the dark while you drift down towards sleep. And while you're drifting there, let me tell you about a few of the more unusual pairs the galaxy keeps. because not all companions are quite the same size. Sometimes one star in a pair is a great puffy giant, swollen and cool and enormous, while its partner is small and dense and quietly bright, the two of them circling on for age after age. And sometimes the pair is so beautifully matched that if you could stand on a world between them, you'd see two suns of slightly different colors, one a warm gold and the other a soft orange, drifting slowly around the sky together. It's a gentle thing to picture, isn't it? Two little hearths warming the same quiet world, taking turns to rise, never quite leaving it in the dark. Now let your mind soften around that image, and let me carry you along to something else entirely, something even slower and even older. Because scattered all through the galaxy, and gathered especially thickly around its edges and its heart, there are these extraordinary things called globular clusters. And a globular cluster is a bit like a cluster of newborn stars, the kind we talked about a little while ago, except grown impossibly old and drawn impossibly tight. Imagine hundreds of thousands of stars, sometimes even 1,000,000 of them, all bound together by gravity into a single great glowing ball, packed close and turning slowly in the dark. From a distance, a globular cluster looks like a soft, fuzzy sphere of light, densest and brightest right in the middle, thinning gently toward its edges, like a dandelion seed head made of stars. And here's the part I find so peaceful. These clusters are ancient. Many of them are almost as old as the galaxy itself, something like 12 or 13 billion years old. They were already there, already old, long before our sun was even a whisper of gathering gas. They've been drifting quietly around the outskirts of the Milky Way this whole time, holding their thousands of stars together, orbiting slowly, patiently, keeping their own soft company across spans of time that make everything in human life look like a single passing breath. There are around 150 of them that we know of, wheeling in great slow loops around our galaxy, up above and below the flat plane of the disk, out in the quiet halo where the dust thins away to almost nothing. Let that settle over you for a moment. 150 ancient globes of light, each one holding a small city of stars, all of them turning gently through the dark, minding their own slow business, and asking nothing of anyone. If you ever want a soothing thing to picture as you fall asleep, you could do far worse than one of those clusters. A great soft ball of 100,000 suns, glowing warmly in the emptiness. No hurry, no trouble, just slowly turning, the way it has since long before the earth was born. And let your own breathing slow to match that turning now. In, gently, filling you up without any effort at all. And out, slowly, letting a little more of the day drain away with it. There's nothing you need to hold on to tonight. Not a single thought, not a single worry. Let them loosen their grip, one by one, the way stars loosen from a young cluster, and let them drift away into the dark where you don't have to follow them. Now, if you were to imagine yourself sitting inside one of those globular clusters, out on some world circling one of its crowded stars, the night sky above you would be something to behold, where we, out here in our thin, quiet arm, see a scattering of stars against a mostly black sky. You'd see thousands upon thousands of them, bright and close, filling the darkness with a soft glow. So many that there'd hardly be any true black left at all. The nights there would never be fully dark. there'd always be a gentle starlight lying over everything, like the glow of a low fire in a room where someone's already asleep. Isn't that a lovely thought to rest inside? A sky so full of stars that darkness never quite falls. But out here, where we live, things are calmer and more spacious, and I think there's a comfort in that too. Our own patch of the galaxy is roomy and unhurried. The stars nearest to our sun are, by the standards of space, our close neighbors. And yet they're still unimaginably far away. The very nearest star to our sun, other than the sun itself, is a small, cool, dim red dwarf. And even light, which is the fastest thing there is, takes more than 4 years to travel from there to here. More than 4 years. If you could somehow send a whisper across that gap at the speed of light tonight, it wouldn't arrive until you were 4 years older. That's the very closest one. Our nearest neighbor in all the galaxy. Let that vastness wash over you gently, not as something frightening, but as something restful. All that room, all that quiet space between one star and the next. The galaxy isn't crowded out here where we are, it's spacious and slow and calm, with great oceans of gentle dark between one small sun and another. And you're tucked away safe in the middle of all that spaciousness, in your warm bed, on your small blue world, with the nearest other sun more than 4 years of light away, keeping its distance, minding its own slow business, letting you rest undisturbed. Now here's something worth knowing about that dim little neighbor star, and about all the countless red dwarfs like it, because it's one of the most soothing facts in all of astronomy. Those small red stars burn so slowly, so gently, so miserly with their fuel, that they last almost unimaginably long. Where our sun will shine for something like 10 billion years all told, a small red dwarf can go on glowing softly for trillions of years, thousands of billions of years, far, far longer than the universe has even existed so far. Not one of them, anywhere, has ever burned out from old age. The universe simply hasn't been around long enough. Every red dwarf that has ever formed is still out there tonight, still quietly shining, still with almost the whole of its enormous life ahead of it. Think of that for a moment as you lie here. These gentle little stars are so patient, so unhurried, so endlessly long-lived, that the entire history of everything so far is just the faintest beginning of their day. They're in no rush whatsoever. They'll still be glowing softly, long, long after our own sun has faded and cooled. And there's something deeply calming in that, I think. The idea that the galaxy is full of these quiet, steady, patient little lights, the most common stars of all, just settling in for a truly endless evening, taking their time, in no hurry to go anywhere at all. So follow their example now. Take your time. There's nowhere to be. Let your breathing grow slower and softer, like the slow burn of one of those little red stars, sipping gently at the night, in no hurry to reach the morning. In and out, heavier and slower with each one. Let's drift now toward the heart of the galaxy, slowly, the way you might wander toward the warmth of a fire on a cold evening, in no particular hurry, just letting yourself be drawn gently in. We talked earlier about that thickening at the center, that great glowing bulge of stars where the galaxy gathers itself together. Well, right at the very middle of all of it, at the exact center of the whole slow-turning spiral, there's something remarkable. There's a black hole. And I know that word can sound a little dramatic, a little frightening, but I want you to let go of any of that tonight, because from where we sit, safely far away, it's really just another quiet, distant feature of the landscape, turning slowly with everything else. This black hole at the center of our galaxy is an enormous one, what astronomers call a supermassive black hole. It holds something like 4 million times as much material as our sun, all gathered into a single point, deep at the heart of the Milky Way. And every galaxy of any real size seems to have one of these at its center, sitting there quietly, like a still point around which the whole vast pinwheel turns. Ours has a name, a rather technical one, Sagittarius A star, because it lies in the direction of the constellation we call Sagittarius, the Archer. When you look toward that part of the sky on a summer night, you're looking, without ever seeing it, straight toward the still, dark heart of the galaxy. And here's the thing I find most soothing about it. For all its power, our galaxy's central black hole is remarkably calm and quiet these days. It's not roaring, it's not devouring, it's not doing anything dramatic at all. It's a relatively gentle, sleepy sort of black hole, sitting placidly at the center of things, with the stars of the inner galaxy wheeling slowly around it in their long, patient orbits. Some of those stars swing quite close to it and loop around at tremendous speed, but from far enough away, even that looks slow and stately, like the unhurried turning of a great wheel. And we are very far away indeed, some 26,000 light years from that center. 26,000 years for even light to reach us from there. It's about as distant and undisturbing a neighbor as you could possibly wish for. So there's nothing there to trouble you tonight. Just a still, dark, quiet center, unimaginably far off, holding the whole galaxy together with its patient gravity, letting all those hundreds of billions of stars, including our own small sun, turn slowly and safely around it, exactly as they've done for billions of years. It's the calm anchor at the middle of the whole slow dance. And you're way out here on the peaceful edge of that dance, drifting off to sleep, held gently in the same great turning, as safe and as far from the center as you could ever be. Let your body grow heavier still now, sinking a little deeper into the mattress with every slow breath. Feel the weight of your arms, resting wherever they've come to rest. Feel the weight of your legs, growing loose and warm and still. There's nothing to hold up anymore, nothing to carry, nothing to keep track of. The galaxy is turning without any help from you. The stars are shining without you needing to watch them. The great black heart of it all is holding everything steady, whether you're awake or asleep. So you can let go of all of it now, completely, and simply rest. And as you rest, let me tell you one more gentle thing about the shape of the space around that center, because it's a lovely picture to carry down into sleep. The stars closest to the heart of the galaxy are packed much more thickly than they are out here where we live. The whole central bulge is dense and golden and crowded with old stars, most of them ancient, warm-colored, quiet suns that have been shining for a very long time. If our own sun happened to live in there, near the center, our night sky would be crowded with brilliant stars, far more than we could ever count, glowing so thickly that true darkness would be a rare and precious thing. But instead, we live out here in the calm and roomy suburbs, where the stars are spread thin and the nights are properly, restfully dark. and I think that's a lovely place to call home. Out here, there's space to breathe. Out here, the sky is quiet. Out here, a single star can shine all on its own against a wide, dark background without 1,000 others crowding in around it. It's a gentle, spacious, peaceful part of the galaxy, this little arm of ours. And it's exactly the sort of place where a small, warm world could turn slowly through the ages, undisturbed, and let its creatures rest easy in the dark. So let yourself feel that ease now. Let yourself feel how far you are from anything hurried or crowded or bright. Out here in the quiet arm, on the small blue world, in the darkened room, under the soft warm covers, there's nothing pressing in on you at all, just space and stillness and the slow turning of everything, carrying you gently onward while you rest. Breathe in that spaciousness and breathe out, slower still, and let yourself drift a little deeper towards sleep while I keep talking softly into the dark, and the whole vast calm galaxy keeps turning quietly overhead. Now let me carry you gently onward, still drifting, still soft and heavy in the dark, while I tell you a little more about the great slow machinery of the galaxy turning quietly around us both. Because here's something worth knowing about the way our whole galaxy spins. You might think, quite naturally, that the stars near the center would race around quickly, while the ones out at the edges dawdle along slowly, the way the planets do around our sun. Out here in our own little solar system, the inner planets hurry and the far ones crawl. But the galaxy doesn't behave that way at all. Out in the wide disk where we live, the stars all seem to move around the center at roughly the same steady pace, whether they're closer in or further out. It's as though the whole great wheel turns together, calmly, evenly, without any part of it rushing ahead of the rest. And astronomers puzzled over that for a long, long time, because by everything they could see and weigh, it simply shouldn't work that way. There didn't seem to be enough matter, enough stars and gas and dust to hold those outer stars in their steady orbits. By rights, they ought to be flung off into the dark. And yet there they stay, turning patiently, night after night, age after age. But you don't need to hold on to that puzzle tonight. Just let it be one more gentle mystery, turning slowly in the dark above you. Nothing you need to solve, nothing that asks anything of you at all. Let's breathe together once more here, slow and easy. Breathe in softly, filling your chest without any effort, and breathe out, longer and slower, letting your shoulders sink down away from your ears, letting your jaw go loose, letting the whole weight of your head rest fully into the pillow. There. Nothing to do but rest and listen. Now, the answer astronomers eventually reached for that puzzle is a lovely, quiet thing to carry towards sleep. They came to believe that all the stars we can see, all 400 billion of them, might be only a small part of what's really out there. Wrapped all around our galaxy, they think, is a vast, invisible cloud of something we simply can't see, something that gives off no light of its own at all. They call it dark matter, and it's a rather fitting name for a bedtime, isn't it? A gentle, unseen presence spread out through all the space around us, quietly holding the whole galaxy together with its weight. You can't see it, and you can't feel it, and it never troubles you in the least. It just rests there in the dark, all around the bright spinning disk, cradling everything, keeping the stars in their slow and faithful circles. Imagine that soft invisible cloak stretched out over the whole galaxy tonight, far larger even than the great wheel of stars itself, holding it all in a patient embrace. There's something deeply comforting in that, I think. A vast unseen gentleness wrapped around everything, asking nothing, simply holding it all steady while it turns. Let that image settle over you like a warm blanket now, and let your body grow heavier still. Feel how the mattress rises up to meet you, holding all your weight so you don't have to hold any of it yourself. Feel how the covers rest lightly and warmly over you. Feel how the darkness of the room settles around you like something soft and kind. You're held, just as the galaxy is held, gently and completely. And there's nothing at all for you to do but let yourself be carried. Now let me tell you a little about the stuff that drifts between the stars, because it's part of a slow and beautiful cycle, and there's real peace in the shape of it. All through the galaxy, in the vast spaces between the stars, there's a thin scattering of gas and dust, so faint and so spread out that it would seem to you like the emptiest emptiness imaginable. And yet, over unthinkable stretches of time, that thin material gathers itself slowly together, drawn by its own gentle weight, pooling into clouds, and then into denser clumps within those clouds, until at last, in the deep, quiet heart of one of them, a new star kindles into life. And here's the tender part. When a star is born, it's made from that gathered gas and dust. It shines for a long, long while, sometimes for billions of years. And then, at the very end of its life, it gives much of that material back again, releasing it softly into the space between the stars, where it drifts and mingles and eventually gathers once more into some new star, somewhere else, in some far distant age. So the same atoms are used again and again, star after star, generation after generation, in a slow and endless cycle of gathering and giving back. Nothing is truly lost. Everything is passed along, and you are part of that cycle too. You know, the very atoms in your body, the calcium in your bones, the iron carried in your blood, the oxygen you're breathing so slowly and so peacefully right now. All of it was forged long ago in the hearts of stars that lived and died before our sun was ever born. You're made of that same borrowed stardust, gathered up and lent to you for a little while. Isn't that a gentle thing to know as you lie here in the dark? You're not a stranger to the galaxy at all. You're made of it. You belong to it, as surely as any star. Let that thought rest warmly in your chest for a moment, rising and falling with each slow breath. You belong here. You're woven into all of it. And on a night like this one, there's nothing you need to prove, and nowhere you need to be. You can simply rest inside the great slow cycle, one small warm gathering of ancient stardust, breathing quietly in the dark. Now, let's wander a little further and think about the sun itself for a while, because it's the nearest star of all, and it holds a quiet story too. Our sun sits about 93 million miles away from us. Let me put that in a friendlier way, since that number is hard to feel. If you could somehow drive there in a car at highway speed, without ever stopping, it would take you something like 170 years to arrive. And yet the sun's warmth reaches across all that distance in about 8 minutes, riding along on sunlight to touch your skin on a summer afternoon. That's how far away it is, and how close it feels all at once. and the sun is enormous, far larger than it looks in our sky. You could fit more than 1,000,000 Earths inside it if you could somehow scoop them all up and pour them in. It holds within itself almost all the mass of the entire solar system, every planet, every moon, every asteroid and comet. All of it together makes up only the tiniest sliver, while the sun itself is nearly the whole of it. Everything else just circles that one great central fire, held close by its gravity, turning slowly around it, exactly as we've turned for billions of years and will keep on turning for billions more. Let that steadiness soothe you now. The sun has risen and set, over and over, for longer than there's been life on Earth to watch it. It rose over the first oceans. It rose over the first forests. It's risen over every morning of every life that's ever been lived on this world. And it will rise again tomorrow, whether you're awake to see it or not. There's such a deep comfort in that faithfulness. You don't have to do anything to keep it going. You can let go completely tonight, and the sun will still be there in the morning, warm and steady and sure. And here's something quietly reassuring about our sun in particular. Among all the stars in the galaxy, ours is a remarkably calm and even-tempered one. Some stars flare violently, throwing off great bursts of energy that would make any nearby world a difficult place to live. But our sun is steady. It's been shining with the same gentle, dependable warmth for 4.5 billion years. And it's given life on Earth the long, calm stretch of time it needed to grow slowly into everything it's become. It's a patient, reliable star, our sun, exactly the kind of quiet companion you'd want at the center of your world. Breathe with it now, slow and even, the way the sun burns slow and even out there in the dark. In, softly, and out, more slowly still. Let each breath grow a little longer and a little quieter than the one before until your breathing is as unhurried and as steady as that old, faithful star. Now let your thoughts drift outward again, past the sun, out to the other planets that share our little corner of space, because there's a peacefulness in simply picturing them turning quietly in the dark. There's Mercury, small and close to the sun, hurrying around it in just a few months. There's Venus, wrapped in thick, pale clouds, glowing softly. There's our own blue Earth, of course, the one you're resting on right now, turning slowly through its night. There's Mars, cold and rusty and quiet. And then, further out, the great giants, Jupiter and Saturn, vast and slow and ringed with beauty. And beyond them, Uranus and Neptune, drifting in the deep, cold dark at the far edges of the sun's warmth. And every one of them is turning right now, tonight, in perfect silence, tracing its own slow circle around the sun, exactly as it has done for billions of years. Saturn is out there this very moment, tilting its great pale rings toward the distant sunlight. Jupiter is turning its slow storms in the dark. Neptune is drifting so far out that a single one of its years lasts longer than 160 of ours. None of them need watching. None of them need any help from us. They simply turn, patiently and beautifully, in the great quiet clockwork of the solar system. And they'll keep on turning long after tonight has faded into morning. Let that gentle motion carry you now. Picture the whole solar system as a slow and silent mobile, hung in the dark, every piece drifting in its own unhurried circle, the sun glowing warmly at the center of it all. and picture our little Earth among them, and the darkened room somewhere on that Earth, and you within that room, resting soft and heavy in your bed. One small still point at the very heart of all that patient turning. Everything moving so slowly, so smoothly, so gently, that it feels like perfect stillness. And in that stillness, you can let yourself go completely. Let your feet grow heavy and warm. Let that heaviness rise slowly up through your ankles, into your legs, softening every muscle as it goes. Let it flow into your hips, your back, your belly, loosening everything, asking nothing. Let it spread across your chest, rising and falling now, only with the slow, easy tide of your breath. Let it move down your arms, all the way to your fingertips, until your hands lie completely still and open and at rest. And let it settle at last into your neck, your jaw, the muscles around your eyes, until your whole face is smooth and soft and peaceful in the dark. There's nothing left to hold now, nothing to carry, nothing to keep track of. The galaxy is turning without any help from you. The sun is shining without you needing to tend it. The planets are drifting through their slow circles all on their own. The great invisible cloak of dark matter is holding everything gently in its place, whether you're awake or asleep. And you, one small warm gathering of ancient stardust, can simply lie here and rest, held by all of it, belonging to all of it, safe in the quiet, turning dark. Breathe in once more, slow and deep and easy. And breathe out, longer and softer than before, letting yourself sink a little deeper still. I'll keep talking gently into the dark, and the whole vast calm galaxy will keep turning quietly overhead, while you drift further and further towards sleep. The moons, though, let me tell you a little about the moons, because they're some of the quietest and loveliest company the planets keep. Our own Earth has just the one, that pale silver companion you've watched 1,000 times, always turning the same gentle face toward us as it circles. But out among the giant planets, there are dozens upon dozens of moons, whole little families of them, drifting in slow, patient orbits around their worlds. Jupiter alone has more than 90 of them that we've found so far, and some of them are worlds in their own right. There's one called Ganymede that's actually larger than the planet Mercury, a great round moon bigger than a planet, circling quietly out there in the dark. And there's another, a small bright one called Europa, wrapped all over in a smooth shell of ice. And beneath that ice, astronomers believe, there's an ocean of liquid water, hidden and dark and still, holding perhaps more water than all the seas of Earth combined. Imagine that, an entire ocean sealed under ice, sloshing gently in the cold far from the sun, undisturbed for billions of years. And around Saturn, there's a moon called Titan, the second largest in the whole solar system. And it's the strangest and most beautiful place. It has a thick golden haze of an atmosphere, thicker than our own. And beneath that haze, there are rivers and lakes and seas, not of water, but of liquid methane, rain falling slow and soft through that heavy orange air, gathering into pools and running down into cool, dark lakes, a whole world with weather and shorelines and gentle rain, drifting out there in the cold, more than 1 billion kilometers from the sun. Let that image drift through you for a moment. Somewhere out there tonight, on a moon called Titan, a soft methane rain is falling through a golden sky. And it has been falling like that, patiently for longer than there have been people to wonder about it. You don't need to do anything with that thought. Just let it settle over you, quiet and strange and soothing, the way a far-off rain sounds through a window when you're warm in bed. Now let's drift back a little closer to home and think about the small wandering things, the comets, and the bits of rock and ice that share our solar system too. Comets are lovely, gentle things when you understand them. They spend most of their long lives out in the deep cold far from the sun, as quiet frozen lumps of ice and dust, no bigger than a mountain, drifting slowly through the dark. And then, once in a great while, one of them falls inward toward the sun, and as it warms, its ice begins to turn softly to vapor, and it grows a long glowing tail that can stretch across millions of kilometers, catching the sunlight like a veil. And here's the peaceful part. Some of these comets take thousands of years to make a single loop around the sun. They come sweeping in, brighten for a few short weeks in our skies, and then slip away again into the dark for another few thousand years, patient and unhurried, keeping an appointment so slow that whole civilizations rise and fade between one visit and the next. There are comets out there tonight that last passed by when the Great Pyramids were new, and won't come again until long after everyone alive today has been gently forgotten. Far, far out beyond the planets, so far it's almost impossible to picture. There's thought to be a vast shell of these frozen comets wrapped all the way around our solar system. A great faint cloud of icy bodies called the Oort cloud, drifting in the deep cold at the very edge of the sun's reach. It's so far out there that the sun, from that distance, would look like nothing more than a single bright star among all the others. And these quiet frozen worlds circle so slowly that a single orbit might take 1,000,000 years or more. Imagine that, a year so long that all of recorded human history would pass in the blink of an eye, over and over, before the journey was even half done. There's something wonderfully restful in that, I think. All that slow, patient drifting going on out there, so gentle, so unhurried, asking nothing of anyone. You can let your own breathing grow that slow and easy now. In, soft and deep, and out, longer and slower still, like a comet drifting outward into the calm and the quiet dark. Now, between the rocky inner planets and the great giants, there's a wide gap where thousands upon thousands of smaller bodies drift. And we call that the asteroid belt. You might picture it, from films perhaps, as a crowded and dangerous place, rocks tumbling past one another, forever crashing and colliding. But the truth is far gentler than that. The asteroid belt is so enormously spread out, and its pieces so small and so far apart, that if you were standing on one of them, you might not be able to see another one at all. The nearest neighbor might be millions of kilometers away, a tiny speck lost in the dark. It's a calm and lonely and spacious place, drifting slowly in the sunlight, nothing like the crowded chaos you might imagine. Even the largest of them, a little world called Ceres, is round and quiet and small, only about 900 kilometers across, small enough that you could drive across it if there were roads in less than a day, and it turns there slowly in the belt, one modest little world among a great scattered field of stones, every one of them left over from the very beginning of the solar system, unchanged and undisturbed for 4.5 billion years. They're like pieces set aside and forgotten, keeping the memory of how everything began. Let that steadiness soothe you now. the way old and unchanging things always seem to. Some parts of this galaxy are forever being made and unmade, stars igniting and fading, clouds gathering and dispersing. But other parts simply endure, quietly, patiently, holding still through all the long ages. And tonight, you can be one of those still and enduring things, resting here unbothered, letting the hours pass over you as gently as sunlight passes over a stone drifting in the belt. Now let me carry you a little further out, past the edges of our own solar system entirely, and toward the nearest of the other stars, because even our closest neighbors are farther away than most people ever really imagine. And there's a quiet comfort in that distance too. The nearest star to our sun is a small, dim red dwarf called Proxima Centauri. It's the closest star of all, our very nearest neighbor in the whole galaxy. And even so, it's so far away that its light, traveling faster than anything else in the universe, takes more than 4 years to reach us. Think about that gently for a moment. When you look up at Proxima Centauri, or at the brighter stars beside it, you're not seeing them as they are tonight. You're seeing light that left them more than 4 years ago. Light that has been traveling quietly across the dark for all that time just to reach your eyes. And for more distant stars, that light might be hundreds or thousands of years old. The night sky is a kind of gentle memory. Then, a picture of how things were, arriving softly, long after the fact. Every point of light up there is a little piece of the past, still traveling, still glowing, finally reaching us on a quiet night like this one. And around that nearest star, Proxima, we've actually found a planet, a small world, not so very different in size from our own Earth, circling close and quiet around that dim red sun. We don't know much about it, and we may not for a very long time, but it's there, turning in the light of another star, the nearest of all the countless worlds that must be drifting out there among the 400 billion suns of the Milky Way. Somewhere out there tonight, that little world is turning through its own night and its own day, in silence, in the deep dark, more than 40 trillion kilometers away. Isn't it a soothing thing, in a way, to feel just how far away everything is? All those stars, all those worlds, so impossibly distant, so utterly beyond reach, and yet so calm, so patient, so entirely untroubled by anything at all. Nothing out there needs you. Nothing is waiting on you or asking anything of you. The whole vast galaxy simply turns and glows and drifts on and on, while you lie here safe and warm and small, letting yourself sink deeper into rest with every slow and easy breath. Let your body grow heavier now. Feel the weight of your limbs against the soft surface beneath you, that lovely settled heaviness that comes just before sleep. Let your shoulders drop a little further. Let your jaw soften. Let the space between your eyebrows go smooth and easy. There's nowhere to be but here, nothing to do but breathe and drift and listen. Now, let's think for a little while about the great families of stars that fill our galaxy, because they're grouped and gathered in ways that are lovely to picture. I told you earlier about globular clusters, those ancient crowded balls of stars out in the halo. But there are gentler, looser gatherings too, scattered all through the disk of the galaxy, and we call them open clusters. These are young families of stars, born together from the same cloud, still drifting side by side through space, like a group of friends walking the same slow road. You've probably seen one of them yourself on a clear night, even if you didn't know its name. There's a little cluster called the Pleiades, a small, tight knot of blue-white stars, sometimes called the Seven Sisters, hanging in the winter sky like a tiny handful of scattered diamonds. Those stars were all born together from the same great cloud, and they're still traveling together now. A family of young stars, perhaps 100 million years old, which sounds ancient, but is really quite young as stars go, and they're wrapped in soft wisps of blue, the last faint traces of the cloud that made them, glowing gently in their light. People have been watching the Pleiades and telling stories about them for thousands and thousands of years, in nearly every culture that ever looked up. Farmers watched for them to know when to plant and when to harvest. Sailors steered by them. All across the world, in every age, people have looked up at that same little cluster of stars and felt something soften in them, some quiet sense of wonder and belonging. And they're still there tonight, exactly where they've always been, turning slowly overhead while you rest. The same stars our ancestors watched, patient and unchanged. Let that thread of connection settle over you now, warm and gentle. For as long as there have been people, there have been quiet nights like this one, and people lying still beneath the stars, letting the day fall away, letting sleep come slowly on. You're part of a very long and very gentle line of dreamers, all of them soothed by the same soft lights, all of them carried off to sleep beneath the same slow-turning sky. There's nothing new you need to do. You're simply doing what people have always done on quiet nights, letting go, growing heavy, and drifting off beneath the stars. Now let me tell you something soft about how our sun moves through the galaxy, because it's not quite as simple as a single flat circle, and the truth of it is rather lovely. As the sun carries us around the great wheel of the Milky Way, on that long journey that takes hundreds of millions of years to complete, it doesn't travel in a perfectly level line. Instead, it bobs very gently up and down, rising a little above the flat plane of the galaxy, and then sinking slowly back down through it, over and over, like a horse on a carousel, drifting softly up and down as it goes around. It's an extraordinarily slow bobbing, far too slow to ever feel. It takes tens of millions of years just to rise up and sink back down a single time. And the whole while, the galaxy's own gentle gravity is holding us, drawing us softly back toward the middle plane whenever we drift too far, never letting us wander off, always easing us home. There's such tenderness in that when you think about it. The whole vast galaxy quietly cradling our little sun, rocking it slowly up and down across the ages, keeping it always gently held. You're being held like that too, tonight, held by the soft surface beneath you, by the quiet dark of the room, by the slow, steady rhythm of your own breathing. Nothing is asking you to hold yourself up anymore. You can let go entirely and simply be held, the way the sun is held, the way the planets are held, the way everything in this great galaxy is held in the long and patient embrace of gravity. Let yourself rest into that. Let yourself be carried. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy, and breathe out, softer and longer than before. And with each breath, let yourself drift a little further down, a little deeper into that warm and heavy quiet, while the sun bobs gently through the galaxy overhead, and the comets drift in the far cold dark, and the little cluster of sisters glimmers softly in the winter sky, and everything, everywhere, turn slowly and patiently on, without needing a single thing from you tonight. And breathe out now, slower and softer, letting your shoulders sink down away from your ears, letting your jaw go loose, letting the whole weight of your head settle deep into the pillow. There's a lovely stillness in the room tonight, and you can let yourself sink right down into the middle of it, the way a leaf settles onto the surface of a quiet pond, and just rest there, going nowhere at all. Now let me tell you about the neighbors our galaxy keeps, because the Milky Way isn't alone out there in the dark. It has companions, other galaxies drifting nearby, and there's something wonderfully cozy about that thought. That even out in the vast emptiness of space, our galaxy has family close at hand. The nearest of the big ones is called Andromeda, and it's a great spiral very much like our own. Another enormous wheel of hundreds of billions of stars, turning slowly in the deep dark, a couple of million light years away from where you're resting tonight. And here's the gentle thing about Andromeda. On a truly dark night, far from any town, if you know just where to look up near a certain constellation, you can actually see it with your own eyes. A faint, soft smudge of light, no brighter than a little breath of fog on the glass. And when you look at that dim little smudge, you're seeing the light of 1 trillion stars, gathered up into one far-off spiral, light that left that galaxy 2.5 million years ago and has been traveling quietly across the dark ever since. All that time, just to arrive at your eye on this one quiet night. It's the most distant thing the human eye can see without any help at all, and it's been waiting up there for you the whole while. Let that settle over you for a moment, soft and slow. There's no need to go out and find it tonight. Just knowing it's there is enough. That great gentle spiral, our nearest large neighbor, turning patiently in the dark, keeping us company across an ocean of empty space. Now, Andromeda and the Milky Way are slowly drifting toward one another, very gradually, over spans of time so enormous they hardly bear thinking about. But please don't let that trouble you, not even a little, because it's the calmest, gentlest thing imaginable. It won't happen for billions of years, long, long after tonight. And when two galaxies drift together like this, they don't crash or collide the way you might picture. The stars inside them are so far apart, with such immense stretches of empty space between them, that the two galaxies simply pass through one another, like two slow clouds mingling, like two handfuls of drifting mist folding softly together. Almost no stars ever actually touch. They just glide past each other, drawn on by gravity, over hundreds of millions of unhurried years. So there's nothing there to worry about. It's just two great wheels of light, slowly reaching toward one another across the dark, in the gentlest, slowest embrace you could ever imagine. And it's so far off in the future that every star you can see tonight will have lived out its whole long life by then. Let that unimaginable slowness soothe you. Everything out there moves at the pace of eternity, patient beyond all measure, in no hurry whatsoever. Now let me tell you about two smaller companions the Milky Way keeps much closer. Two little galaxies that hang near us like a pair of soft lanterns. They're called the Magellanic Clouds, a large one and a small one. And if you ever find yourself far to the south, down below the equator on a clear, dark night, you can see them both up there with your own eyes. Two faint, glowing patches in the sky, like two little puffs of luminous cloud that never move and never drift away. For thousands of years, The peoples of the southern lands watched those two soft clouds and wove them into their stories, and travelers crossing the great southern ocean steered by them. These two little galaxies circle our own, held gently in the grip of the Milky Way's gravity, slowly orbiting us over hundreds of millions of years. The way the moon circles the Earth, but on a scale almost too vast to picture. They're small, as galaxies go. The larger one holds only a few billion stars, a mere fraction of what our own galaxy carries. But they're lovely, and they're ours. Two quiet companions drifting along beside us through the dark. Breathe with that for a moment. In, slow and easy. And out, softer and longer. Picture those two little clouds of light hanging low in a southern sky, faint and steady and patient. And let yourself grow heavier still. Now, all of these are Milky Way and Andromeda, and the two Magellanic Clouds, and a whole scattering of smaller galaxies besides. All of them belong to one loose gathering that astronomers call the Local Group. It's a little family of galaxies, a few dozen of them all together, drifting through space near one another, held together in a soft web of gravity. Most of them are small, dim little things, faint smudges of a few million stars each, orbiting quietly around the two big spirals, like moths around a pair of distant lamps. And I find that such a warming thought as you lie here in the dark. Our galaxy isn't a lonely island adrift in the emptiness. It belongs to a little neighborhood, a gentle cluster of companions, all of them turning and drifting along together through the deep dark, keeping one another quiet company across the ages. There's a kind of belonging in that, all the way up at the scale of galaxies. Everything gathered softly together, nothing truly alone. Let that sense of belonging settle over you now. You're part of a world, and the world is part of a galaxy, and the galaxy is part of a little family of galaxies. All of it nested together, one soft layer inside another, holding you gently at the very center of it all tonight. Now let me carry you back inside our own galaxy again and tell you something about how old it truly is. Because the Milky Way is ancient almost beyond understanding, and there's a deep, settling calm in old things. Our galaxy has been turning in the dark for something like 13 billion years, nearly as old as the universe itself. It began forming not long, in cosmic terms, after everything began, when the first great clouds of gas gathered together and the very first stars kindled into light in the darkness. And some of those very first stars, or at least stars from very near the beginning, are still out there tonight, scattered through the oldest parts of the galaxy. Astronomers can find them here and there. Ancient, quiet stars that have been burning slow and steady since almost the dawn of everything. Older than the Earth, older than the Sun, older very nearly than the galaxy itself. They drift out in the great halo that surrounds the disk. These old, old stars, wheeling slowly through the dark on long, patient orbits, keepers of the galaxy's most ancient memory. Imagine that for a moment, gently. Somewhere out there tonight, there are stars that were shining before the sun was ever born, before the earth had gathered itself together, before there was any such thing as an ocean or a mountain or a single living creature anywhere. They were already old when our whole solar system was just a drifting cloud of dust. And they're still there now, still burning quietly, utterly unhurried, having watched the whole long history of the galaxy unfold around them in perfect silence. Let that vast, slow patience soothe you. Nothing out there is rushing. The oldest stars have waited 13 billion years and are waiting still, calm and constant. And they'll go on waiting long after this quiet night is over. Now here's a lovely way to think about how these old stars differ from the younger ones like our sun. The very first stars in the universe were made of almost nothing but the simplest, lightest stuff. Just hydrogen and helium, the plain raw material the whole cosmos began with. There was no gold in them, no iron, no carbon, none of the richer elements at all, because none of those things existed yet. They had to be made slowly inside the hearts of the stars themselves and scattered out into space as those stars aged and died. So the oldest stars are simple and pure, made of the plainest things. And the younger stars, the ones born later, like our own sun, are richer, seasoned with all the elements that generations of earlier stars cooked up and scattered before them. When astronomers look at a star tonight, they can read its age in a way, just by seeing how rich or how plain it is, how many of those heavier elements it carries. The plainer the star, the older it tends to be, the closer to the very beginning of things. And you, resting here tonight, are made of the rich stuff, the carbon and the iron and the oxygen that could only have come from generations of stars that lived and died long before the sun was born. You're a late and lucky arrival, made of the accumulated gifts of countless ancient stars. Let that thought rest warmly in your chest for a moment, rising and falling with each slow breath. Now let your mind grow soft and slow again. And let me tell you about the great slow turning of it all, measured in a way that's rather beautiful. Astronomers sometimes speak of a galactic year, the time it takes our sun to make one complete trip all the way around the center of the Milky Way. And one of those galactic years is a very, very long time. Something like 230 million years for a single lap. Think about what that means, gently. The last time the sun was in the very spot it occupies tonight, on the previous time around the Great Wheel, the dinosaurs were only just beginning to appear on the young Earth. The whole long age of the dinosaurs, their rise and their reign and their disappearance, and everything that has come since. All of human history, every civilization, every person who has ever lived. All of it has happened in less than a single galactic year. The sun hasn't even finished one more lap around the galaxy since those first dinosaurs walked. And it's carrying us along on that same slow, patient circle right now, tonight, while you rest. There's such peace in that scale, I think. All our hurry, all the busyness of a day, all the little worries that seemed so pressing just a few hours ago, set against one slow turn of the galaxy, they soften into almost nothing. The sun simply carries on around its great circle, unhurried, taking 230 million years for each turn, and there's nowhere it needs to be any sooner than that. You can borrow a little of that ease tonight. There's nowhere you need to be either. Nothing that can't wait. Just the slow, patient turning, and your slow, easy breath, and the deep quiet of the dark. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, longer and softer, sinking a little deeper as you go. Let your arms grow heavy where they rest. Let your legs grow heavy and warm. Let that heaviness spread all the way through you, gentle and complete, until there's nothing left to hold and nothing left to do but rest. And while you drift there, Let me tell you one more soft thing about the space our sun is passing through right now. It turns out that our little corner of the galaxy sits inside a great, mostly empty bubble, a region where the gas between the stars is thinner than usual, blown clear long ago by the deaths of some ancient stars. Astronomers call it the local bubble, and our sun has been drifting through the middle of it for a good long while, sailing quietly through this calm, clear patch of the galaxy like a boat gliding across still water. So even the very space around us is gentle and roomy tonight, swept clean and quiet, giving our little solar system plenty of soft, open room to drift along in. There's calm all the way out, in every direction. The roomy suburbs of the galaxy, the clear, open bubble around us, the wide, patient dark between the stars, all of it spacious and unhurried and still. Let yourself rest into all that spaciousness now. There's room enough for you to let go completely, room enough to set everything down, room enough to sink all the way into sleep with nothing crowding you at all. The galaxy is vast and old and endlessly patient, and it holds you gently at the center of it, asking nothing, needing nothing, simply turning slowly on through the dark, while you grow heavier and softer and closer to sleep with every breath. Breathe in once more, slow and deep and easy, and breathe out, slower still, letting the last of the day drain away, letting yourself drift down into the warm and heavy quiet, while the neighbor galaxies glimmer far off in the dark, and the old stars wheel patiently through the halo, and the sun carries us gently onward around its long and unhurried circle, in no hurry at all, tonight or ever. And breathe out, slow and soft, letting yourself sink down another gentle inch into the warmth of the bed, letting the quiet close around you like a hand. Now let me carry you a little further, still soft and heavy in the dark, and tell you about the true shape of our galaxy's heart. Because for a long while, people pictured it as a simple round hub, and the real thing turns out to be even lovelier than that. At the very center of the Milky Way, running right through the middle of it, there's a long, gentle bar of stars, a great elongated crowd of them, stretched out like a softly glowing spindle, with the spiral arms curling away from either end of it. So our galaxy isn't just a spiral, it's what astronomers call a barred spiral, with that slow bar of old golden stars turning at its core, wheeling around ever so gradually, carrying the whole magnificent pinwheel along with it. There's something restful in picturing that, I think. That long bar of ancient stars, glowing warm and amber in the middle of everything, turning so slowly you could never hope to see it move, holding the center steady while the arms sweep round and round across the ages. It's been turning like that since long before there was anyone here to look up and wonder about it. And it will go on turning long after tonight is forgotten. Let that slow, sure turning settle into you now, steady and unhurried, and let your breath fall into the same easy rhythm. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, longer and softer, sinking down as you go. Now, here's a soft thing to know about all the worlds that fill our galaxy, and it's one of the most wonderful discoveries of recent years. For most of human history, we knew of only the handful of planets circling our own sun, and we could only guess whether other stars had planets too. But now we know. Nearly every star you can see, and nearly every star you can't, is very likely holding planets of its own. Worlds we'll never visit, turning quietly around suns whose names we'll never learn. When astronomers add it all up, they think there may be more planets in the Milky Way than there are stars. That's hundreds of billions of worlds, at the very least, scattered all through the great spiral, each one turning in its own silence, in its own patch of dark. Just imagine that for a moment, gently, as you lie here. Hundreds of billions of worlds, rocky ones and cloudy ones, frozen ones and warm ones, worlds with rings and worlds with many moons, worlds bathed in the light of two suns at once, and worlds that drift far out in the cold with only a dim red ember of a star to keep them company. All of them turning right now, all of them silent, all of them utterly at peace. You don't have to picture any single one of them. Just let the sheer soft abundance of it wash over you. So many quiet worlds, so much gentle turning, all of it going on without the slightest need for anything from you at all. Let that settle over you like a blanket, and let your body grow heavier still. And here's an even stranger, quieter thought to carry down with you. Not every world in the galaxy belongs to a star. Some of them drift entirely alone, cast loose long ago from wherever they were born, wandering the great dark between the stars with no sun to circle at all. Astronomers call these rogue planets, and though the name sounds restless, the truth of them is anything but. They simply float, slow and cold and silent, through the vast open spaces of the galaxy, in no danger and no hurry, drifting on through the dark for billions upon billions of years. There may be great numbers of them out there, more than we can easily count, each one sailing quietly along its own lonely, peaceful path. There's a strange comfort in that, isn't there? Even a world with no sun, no home, no fixed place to belong, can drift on perfectly calm and untroubled through the endless dark. It asks for nothing. It simply is. So let yourself be a little like one of those quiet wanderers tonight, needing nothing, holding nothing, simply drifting easy and free through the soft dark of your own rest. Breathe in, slow and easy, and let it go. Now let me tell you about the space between the stars again, because there's more to it than the dust and gas we've already wandered through. Threaded all through our galaxy, running invisibly between the stars, there's a vast and gentle magnetic field. It's far, far too faint for you ever to feel. Thousands of times weaker than the little magnet that holds a note to a refrigerator door. And yet, it stretches across the entire galaxy, following the spiral arms in great long looping lines, combing quietly through the dust and shaping the slow drift of the clouds. The whole Milky Way is wrapped in this soft, unseen web, threading through everything, silent and steady and endlessly patient. Isn't that a lovely thing to know? That even the empty-seeming dark between the stars is not truly empty, but woven through with these gentle invisible threads, holding everything in a loose and quiet order. It's been there far longer than the sun, and it will be there long after, drifting and shifting so slowly, it might as well be still. Let that unseen gentleness settle over you now, that soft web threading quietly through all the dark, and let yourself be held in it too, calm and loosely gathered, going nowhere at all. Let your shoulders sink. Let your jaw go slack. Let the weight of your whole body press down warm and heavy into the bed. Now, here's something quietly astonishing about how crowded, or rather, how uncrowded, our part of the galaxy really is. When you look up at a truly dark sky, the stars seem to jostle together, thick as sand along that pale band of light. But the truth is that the stars are spread almost unimaginably far apart. Out here in our roomy stretch of the galaxy, the nearest star to the sun is so distant that if you shrank the sun down to the size of a small orange and set it on a table, the very next star would be another orange sitting more than 1,000 kilometers away. That's the scale of the emptiness between them. All that dark, all that spaciousness, and just two little oranges glowing quietly in all of it. So the stars only look crowded because there are so very many of them, stacked up one behind another across those enormous distances. In truth, each one drifts alone in a great sphere of open dark, with room to spare in every direction. Room and quiet and stillness beyond anything we can really picture. There's such peace in that, I think, such a sense of gentle, roomy calm. Nothing out there is pressed or crowded or hurried. Everything has all the space it could ever need. And you have that too, tonight. All the room in the world to spread out and let go. All the quiet you could ever want. Nothing crowding you, nothing pressing on you. Nothing that needs to be any nearer than it is. Just soft, open space, and your soft, slow breath, and the deep and roomy dark all around. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy. And breathe out, slower still, letting yourself drift down another gentle step towards sleep. Now let me tell you what becomes of a star like our sun in the end, because it's a slow and peaceful story, and there's nothing at all in it to trouble you. Long, long from now, so long that the number hardly means anything. When the sun has burned through the last of its steady fuel, it won't vanish in any sudden way. It will swell up slowly, gently, into a great soft giant, glowing warm and red and huge. And then, over a very long and unhurried while, it will let go of its outer layers, breathing them off into space as a wide, glowing halo of gas. A thing so quietly beautiful that astronomers call these clouds by a lovely misleading old name, planetary nebulae, even though they've nothing to do with planets at all. Picture that for a moment, softly, a great slow star at the very end of its long life, simply exhaling, sighing off gentle rings and shells of glowing color into the dark, pinks and greens, and soft pale blues, spreading out slowly across the years, like smoke rings drifting on still air. It's one of the most peaceful things in all the sky, and at the center of that soft glowing cloud, the old heart of the star settles down to rest as a small, dense, quiet ember. A white dwarf, no longer burning, just slowly, slowly cooling in the dark, over ages beyond counting. There's nothing sad in it, not really. It's just the long, slow settling of a star into rest, the same way you're settling now, letting go of the day, layer by layer, breathing off the last of your cares into the dark, sinking down toward a deep and quiet stillness. The star takes its time about it. So can you. There's no hurry in any of it, tonight or ever. Let that image drift through you, soft and warm, and let your body grow heavier still. And here's the gentle thing about those little white dwarfs, those cooling embers of old suns. The galaxy is full of them, scattered everywhere through the disk. Countless quiet stars that have already finished their long lives and are simply resting now, cooling ever so slowly toward the dark. They cool so gradually that not a single one has yet had time to grow truly cold. not in all the long history of the galaxy so far. Every white dwarf that has ever formed is still, tonight, glowing faintly with the warmth it has left over, sitting out there in the dark, small and patient, giving off its last soft light across billions upon billions of years. Imagine how slow that is. A whole star, its work all done, taking longer to cool than the entire age of the universe so far, just easing down gently toward rest, unhurried, untroubled, in no rush to reach the end at all. Let that unimaginable slowness soothe you now. There's so much time out there, so much patient, unhurried time, that even the cooling of a dead star happens gently, by the smallest of degrees, over spans that make a single night feel like nothing at all. So let your own night stretch out long and easy in front of you. There's more than enough of it. Nowhere to be, nothing to reach, no ending to hurry toward. Just the slow settling, the gradual softening, the gentle cooling of the day into quiet as you sink deeper and deeper toward sleep. Breathe in once more, slow and deep, and breathe out, longer and softer, letting go of everything. Now let me tell you one last soft thing before we drift on. About the sky, those old white dwarfs, and all the countless stars have hung above us. Every star you have ever seen with your own eyes, every single point of light in every night sky of your whole life belongs to our own Milky Way. And not just to our galaxy, but to our own small neighborhood within it. The farthest individual stars the eye can pick out are still really quite close by. In galactic terms, all of them tucked into our own spiral arm and the arms just beside it. The great wide galaxy stretches on far beyond them, so vast that its farther reaches blur together into that soft pale band, too distant for any single star to stand out at all. So when you've looked up on a clear night and felt the whole sky wheeling above you, thick with stars, you were really only seeing our own little corner of home, a small, close, familiar patch of a galaxy almost too large to imagine. All those stars that have watched over every night of your life are near neighbors in the end. Fellow travelers in this same quiet arm, drifting along beside us through the dark, keeping us gentle company as the great wheel turns. There's a real warmth in that, I think. The night sky isn't a cold and distant thing. It's the near company of our own galactic home, close and familiar, wheeling slowly and faithfully overhead. The same soft stars that watched over the people who came long before you, and will watch over those who come long after. And they're watching over you tonight, quiet and steady, as you let yourself sink all the way down into rest. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy, and breathe out, slower still, letting your whole body grow heavy and warm, letting the last of the day drain gently away, while the long bar of golden stars turns quietly at the galaxy's heart, and the countless worlds drift silent in the dark, and the old white dwarfs cool ever so slowly toward their rest, and the near stars of our own soft arm keep their patient watch above you, in no hurry at all, tonight or ever. And now let me carry you a little further, still soft and heavy in the dark, and tell you about the light of our galaxy itself. Not the stars you can pick out one by one, but the whole glow of it gathered together. If you could somehow rise up and away, far above the great flat wheel of the Milky Way, and look back at it from outside, the way you'd look back at your own house from the top of a hill. You'd see it shining with a soft, pale, milky light. All those hundreds of billions of stars blurred together into one gentle radiance. And most of that light, it turns out, is not the bright, showy blue-white of the young, hot stars at all. Most of it is the warm, quiet, yellowish glow of ordinary stars, like our own sun, and the deeper amber of the older ones, all mixed together into a color astronomers sometimes describe as a kind of soft, creamy white, faintly touched with gold. Isn't that a lovely thing to picture as you lie here? Our whole galaxy, seen from far away, glowing the gentle color of candlelight, or of cream poured slowly into coffee, or of the last warm light of the sun sinking behind the hills at the close of a long day. That's the true color of home, seen from the outside. Not cold, not harsh, not a hard electric glare, but something soft and warm and golden. The color of comfort itself, hanging quietly in the dark. Let that warm glow settle over you now, as though you were wrapped up inside it, which of course you are. You're resting right in the middle of all that soft golden light tonight, one small quiet part of the gentle radiance of the whole Milky Way. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, slower still, letting the warmth of that light sink all the way down through you. Now let me tell you something soft about how thin and delicate the great disk of the galaxy really is, because it's easy to imagine it as a solid, heavy thing. And the truth is far more graceful. That enormous wheel of stars, 100,000 light years across, is really only a few hundred light years thick through most of its span. Thin, in proportion, far thinner than a sheet of paper held out flat. Thinner even than the finest silk. If you could shrink the whole Milky Way down to the width of a dinner plate, it would be no thicker than a couple of sheets of tissue laid one upon another. And yet across that impossibly delicate sheet are spread all those billions of stars, all that gas and dust, all those slowly wheeling arms. There's something wonderfully gentle in that, I think. The idea that our whole great galaxy is not some heavy, crushing thing, but something thin and fine and almost fragile. A soft disk of light turning slowly in the dark, held together not by weight, but by the quiet, patient pull of gravity spread evenly all through it. Nothing about it is harsh. Nothing about it is heavy. It's all balance and slowness and grace, turning and turning, as light as it is vast. And you're resting right inside that thin, bright disk tonight, held gently in its soft embrace, drifting along with it as it turns. Let that thought carry you a little deeper now. Let your whole body grow soft and light, as though you too were part of that delicate wheel, turning slowly and easily in the dark, weightless, unhurried, at rest. Now here's a quiet thing to know about the very edges of our galaxy, out past the last of the bright spiral arms, where the stars grow thin and scattered, and the light fades slowly away into the dark. You might think the galaxy simply stops there, with a clean, sharp edge, the way a coin has a clear rim. But it doesn't, not really. Out past the visible disk, the stars just grow sparser and sparser, more and more spread out, until they thin away so gradually that there's no true edge at all, just a soft, slow fading, a gentle blurring of the galaxy into the deep, dark beyond. And scattered far out there in that dim and lonely halo are old, old stars, drifting quietly in enormous slow loops, some of them swinging out tens of thousands of light years from the bright center before slowly, slowly falling back again. Imagine those lonely outer stars for a moment, gently, old and calm and patient, tracing their great slow paths through the dark, in no hurry at all, out where the nights are darker and quieter than anything we can quite imagine. There's no loneliness in it, not the way we'd feel it. Just peace. Just slow, patient, endless drifting, far from the crowds and the bright, busy places, out in the soft, still dark at the galaxy's edge. And you can rest in that same kind of quiet tonight, far from anything busy, far from anything loud, out in your own soft, still dark, drifting slowly and calmly, held gently in place, needing to reach nothing and hurry toward nothing at all. Breathe in, slow and easy. And breathe out, longer and softer, letting the quiet of those far edges settle over you. Now let me tell you a little about the way the whole galaxy is slowly, gently drifting through the wider universe, because even the Milky Way itself is not standing still. Our whole galaxy, with all its billions of stars and all its arms and all its slow-turning weight, is moving through space, carried along together with our neighbors in the local group toward a great distant gathering of galaxies far, far away. And the loveliest part is how smooth that motion is. There's no jolting, no shaking, no sense of speed at all. The whole galaxy simply glides, silent and steady, through the vast dark, carrying everything within it, every star, every world, every drifting cloud of dust. And you, resting here tonight, all together, all at once, in one great smooth, unhurried motion that you could never feel and never hear. There's such deep peace in that, I think. Everything moving, and yet everything perfectly calm. The whole galaxy sailing gently through the dark, like a great ship on a still sea at night. So smooth and so quiet that everyone aboard could be fast asleep, rocked ever so softly by a motion far too gentle to wake them. So let yourself be carried like that now. You don't have to move at all. You don't have to do anything. You're already being carried, gently, smoothly, silently, through the vast, quiet dark, along with everything else, held safe inside the great slow drift of the whole galaxy. Let your arms grow heavy. Let your legs grow heavy. Let the last of the day drift away from you, carried off gently on that same slow current. Now let me tell you a soft and lovely thing about the sound of the galaxy, or rather about its quiet, because space itself is silent, and yet the Milky Way is full of a kind of hidden music if you know how to listen. Out among the clouds of gas between the stars, radio waves ripple and hum, invisible and utterly soundless, but real all the same. The slow signals of cold hydrogen drifting in the dark, the gentle crackle of distant energetic places, the faint, steady whisper of the galaxy simply going about its ancient work. Astronomers have built great dishes to listen in on all of it. And when they turn those signals into sound, we can actually hear. What comes through is soft and strange and soothing. Low hums, gentle hisses, slow rising and falling tones, like wind moving through a vast empty hall, or like the sea heard from very far away. Imagine that quiet music playing all around you now, far too soft and too strange for human ears, but they're all the same. The gentle radio hum of the whole galaxy, drifting through the dark, steady and slow and endless. A lullaby that's been playing since long before the Earth was born, and will go on playing long after tonight, is forgotten. Let that imagined hum settle over you like the softest of blankets. Let it fill the quiet of your room, low and warm and endless, carrying you slowly down toward sleep. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, slower still, sinking a little deeper with every gentle breath. Now here's a tender thing to know about the light that reaches us from the far side of our own galaxy. When you look toward the heart of the Milky Way on a dark summer night, the light gathering in your eyes has been traveling for tens of thousands of years to reach you. It left those distant stars long, long ago, back when the first people were only just beginning to paint on the walls of caves. And it has been crossing the dark all that time, patient and steady, just to arrive at your eye on this one particular night. Every glance up at the galaxy's heart is a look deep into the past, a gentle, silent message from stars as they were in a time almost beyond imagining, carried faithfully across all those years and all that distance, simply to be seen by you. There's something so gentle and so patient in that, isn't there? That light has been on its way for longer than all of human history, traveling in perfect silence through the dark, asking nothing, hurrying nowhere, just crossing the vast quiet distance one steady moment at a time, until at last it arrives, soft and faint, and rests upon you. So the next time you look up, you can know that you're being gently touched by light that set out on its journey before your oldest ancestors were born. An old, old light, patient beyond measure, finally come home to your eye. And there's nothing you need to do to receive it. You only have to be there and look and let it arrive. Let that patience soothe you now. There's no rush in any of it. Not in the light, not in the stars, not in the slow turning of the galaxy, and not in you tonight. Everything is arriving exactly when it's meant to, in its own slow and gentle time. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy, and breathe out, longer and softer, letting go of everything. Now let me tell you one more soft thing about the great slow rhythm of the galaxy. Because even the arms themselves, those grand sweeping spirals, are not quite what they seem. And the truth of them is one of the most peaceful ideas in all of astronomy. You might picture those spiral arms as fixed and solid things, like the fixed spokes of a wheel, forever made of the same stars. But they're not. The arms are really more like slow-moving waves, gentle ripples of brightness that drift through the disk of the galaxy. And the stars pass slowly in and out of them the way water passes through a wave upon the sea. A star drifts into an arm and lingers a while in its bright, crowded lanes, and then slowly drifts out the other side and into the quieter dark between. All over spans of many millions of years. Think of it like the slow bunching of traffic on a distant road at night, seen from very far away. The cars keep moving through, but the bright cluster of them lingers in the same place, a slow wave of light that stays even as the things making it flow steadily on. That's what the arms are, slow, patient waves of light and star birth, drifting gently around the galaxy, forever forming and reforming, never quite the same from one great age to the next. And our own sun is drifting slowly through all of that too, easing in and out of the bright arms over the long ages. At this very moment, passing quietly through a calm and open stretch of space. There's no jolt to it, no sudden change, just the slow, endless, gentle flow of everything moving through everything else, wave upon wave, age upon age, all of it turning softly in the dark. Let that slow rhythm carry you now, like the gentle rise and fall of the tide, like your own slow breathing, in and out, in and out, drifting along with the great slow waves of the galaxy as they turn. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, slower and softer still, letting your whole body grow heavy and warm and loose. Now let me tell you something quietly wonderful about just how much of the galaxy we still have never seen. Not because it's too far, but because it's simply too dim, too faint, too gently hidden in the dark. For all our great telescopes, for all our careful watching, most of the small, dim stars of the Milky Way, all those countless patient red dwarfs, are far too faint for us ever to pick out one by one across the vast distances between us. They're out there, glowing softly, tending their little worlds, keeping their long, quiet vigils. Billions upon billions of them, more than we could ever hope to count or name. And yet they drift on entirely unseen by us, asking for no notice, needing no attention, perfectly content in their dimness and their distance. There's a real gentleness in that, I think. So much of the galaxy simply goes about its quiet work in the soft dark, unwatched and untroubled, glowing faintly on and on for billions of years, whether anyone is looking or not. It doesn't need to be seen to be at peace. It doesn't need to be counted to keep on shining. It just rests there in the dark, quiet and steady and calm, doing exactly what it has always done. And you can be like that too tonight, quietly at rest in the soft dark, unwatched and untroubled, needing nothing, reaching for nothing, simply glowing gently on in your own quiet way, at peace whether anyone knows it or not. Let that peace settle deep into you now. Let your breathing grow slower and softer. Let the quiet close gently around you, the way the soft dark closes around all those countless unseen stars. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy, and breathe out, slower still, letting your shoulders sink, letting your jaw go loose, letting the whole weight of your body settle deep and warm into the bed, while the golden light of the galaxy glows soft as candlelight far above your roof, and the slow waves of the spiral arms drift quietly through the dark, and the old light of distant stars comes patiently home to rest, and the whole great galaxy sails on smooth and silent through the endless night, carrying you gently along with it, in no hurry at all, tonight or ever. And so, as the night settles all the way down around you now, let me carry you toward the quiet end of our long, slow wander together, gently, in no hurry at all, the way a boat drifts the last little way into a still harbor when the water has gone smooth and dark and the wind has laid itself down to rest. We've traveled a long way tonight, you and I, all through the great turning wheel of the Milky Way. We began with the name of it, that soft, pale river of light spilled across the sky, and we wandered outward through the spiral arms, past the countless quiet stars, past the dim red dwarfs tending their small worlds, past the great gentle nurseries where new suns are slowly gathering themselves out of the dark. We drifted in toward the calm, deep heart of the galaxy, and back out again to the roomy, restful suburb where our own little sun makes its long, slow way around. And through all of it, the whole time, you've been lying here, warm and safe and still, held gently in place by the soft pull of everything. There's nothing left now to learn, nothing left to picture, nothing left to hold in your mind at all. You can let every last thought go soft and loose, like a hand slowly opening in sleep, letting each small worry drift up and away into the dark, one by one, until there's nothing left but the quiet and the warmth and the slow, easy rise and fall of your own breathing. Breathe in, slow and deep and easy. And breathe out, slower and softer still, letting the very last of the day's weight pour out of you and sink down into the bed. Gone now, all gone, nothing left to carry. Far above your roof, the great galaxy is still turning, exactly as it always has, exactly as it always will, whether you're awake to watch it or not. And that's the sweetest part of all, I think, that it asks nothing of you now. It doesn't need you to understand it. It doesn't need you to picture it, or to marvel at it, or to stay awake for a single moment longer. It's perfectly content to go on turning quietly in the dark while you drift down into sleep, keeping its slow, patient watch over you, the way it has kept watch over every sleeping creature that ever lived on this small blue world. Back and back and back, through all the long ages. Think, just softly, of how many nights this galaxy has turned above sleeping things. Long before there were any people at all, the same pale band of light hung over the quiet earth, while the first small creatures slept in the warm dark. The stars wheeled slowly overhead. The spiral arms drifted through their long, slow waves, and the whole great wheel turned on, silent and steady, watching over sleep after sleep after sleep, night after night, for hundreds of millions of years. And tonight, it's simply doing the same gentle thing it has always done, turning softly above you while you rest. One more small, warm creature safe beneath its light. You belong to all of that, you know? You always have. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the soft, warm stuff of you. All of it was made in the hearts of stars that lived and died long ago, scattered out across the dark, gathered up again over billions of patient years, until at last it became you, resting here tonight beneath the very same sky that forged it. You are the galaxy in a small and quiet way, come alive for a little while and lying still in the dark. And now the galaxy is simply gathering you back into its rest, softly, the way the tide gathers itself back to the sea at the end of a long and gentle day. So there's truly nothing left to do, nowhere to go, nothing to reach for. You've come all this way, through all those countless stars, and now you've arrived at the only place you ever needed to be. Right here, warm and still and safe, at the quiet end of the night. Let your feet grow heavy and warm. Let that heaviness rise slowly up through your ankles, into your legs, soft and loose and sinking. Let your hips settle deep into the bed. Let your back grow wide and easy against the mattress. Let your chest rise and fall, slow and gentle, all on its own, without you needing to do a single thing. Let your shoulders melt down away from your ears. Let your arms lie heavy at your sides, your hands soft and open and still. Let your neck grow long and loose. Let your jaw unclench and hang gently slack. Let the small muscles around your eyes grow soft and smooth. Let your forehead go wide and calm and untroubled. And let every last thought grow slower and dimmer and further away, like the small faint stars of the galaxy fading softly into the dark. Breathe in, slow and deep, and breathe out, slower and softer, letting yourself sink down one more gentle inch into the warmth. Above you, the old light of distant stars is still coming quietly home, crossing all that vast dark space in perfect silence, patient beyond measure, asking nothing, in no hurry at all. The dim red dwarfs are still glowing softly in their far unseen corners, tending their small worlds, keeping their long calm vigils, content in the dark, whether anyone is watching or not. The great faint cloud of comets is still drifting in the deep cold at the very edge of the sun's reach, so slow it hardly seems to move at all. The two little Magellanic clouds are still circling us like a pair of soft lanterns hung in the deep. And far, far off, Andromeda is still drifting gently toward us across an ocean of dark so wide it will take longer than you can imagine to cross. Nothing there to worry about, nothing there to trouble your sleep. Only that slow, endless, patient drifting of great quiet things through the dark. And all of it, every last piece of it, is calm tonight. The galaxy is calm. The stars are calm. The dark between them is calm, and you are calm too, resting here in the middle of it all. One small, warm, still point of quiet in the great slow turning of everything. Let that calm settle all the way down into you now, into the very deepest part of you, the way the last warmth of the day settles into the earth after the sun has gone down. There's no more need to think, no more need to listen, no more need to follow along. My voice will grow softer now, and slower, and further away, and you can simply let it drift off into the quiet, like one more gentle star fading into the dark. You've done enough today. You've carried enough. You've held on to enough. Now it's time to set it all down and let yourself be carried instead. Carried the way the galaxy carries every star along its long, slow path. Carried the way the tide carries a small boat gently into rest. Carried softly down and down into sleep. In no hurry at all, tonight or ever. Breathe in, one last slow and easy breath, and let it out, slower and softer than all the ones before, and let your whole body grow heavy and warm and loose, sinking deep into the bed, deep into the quiet, deep into the soft dark that closes so gently around all the countless sleeping things beneath the turning sky. The great galaxy sails on, smooth and silent, through the endless night. The old light comes patiently home. The spiral arms drift slowly through their long, slow waves. And you rest here beneath it all, safe and warm and still, held gently in place, needing nothing, reaching for nothing, drifting softly down at last into a deep and peaceful sleep. Rest now. Rest deeply. The galaxy will keep on turning, quiet and steady and calm, watching over you all through the night. And there is nothing left for you to do now but sleep. Good night. Sleep well, and let the soft light of the whole great galaxy glow gently over you all the long night through until morning comes.